don't know, man. These bad dates, they just keep coming back like a bad rash. Matter of fact, the bad date might be what gave me the bad rash. Hello, friends, and welcome back to ReddX, your source for the freshest daily cringe content anywhere on the internet. Traits, amounts of science. We are back in r/DatingHell with Wiener Wizardry, the ham sandwich man, and he says that today I went out with a girl from Female Dating Strategy. You remember the female dating strategy videos that we did? We did a stream, we also did a video. I think the stream went a lot better than the video. But we should revisit it at some point, because, yeah, there's a lot of cringe, too. Hey there, everybody. Hi, Wiener Wizardry. Seems like ReddX and the rest of y'all enjoyed my last post, so I figured I'd keep going with a little more for you here at r/DatingHell. It's good stuff. Enticing. Intriguing. I like it. I've got a hell of a story in store for you all today, but this one does have a happy ending. I mean, the last one ended kind of happy too. You escaped, at the very least, but you did have to see an ogre's butthole before you did, so, you know. Slight mental scar there. I met Chloe on Bumble. Oh, that's a different one. I ran multiple dating apps because I figured, well, it'd be a good chance to up my odds of a match. Now I was following my usual MO. The ham sandwich had returned with a vengeance, and I was trying out a new strategy where I just swiped right on everyone to increase my potential match pool.
Looking like a good time. Don't disguise the way you wanna love tonight.
Yeah, but the algorithm knows that you're doing that, so they sort you lower if you swipe right too many times. At least that's what I hear. I don't know nothing about it. It is a good strategy. Maximizes your options, you know? Yeah, it does, until the computer throttles you for it. Well, Chloe comes back and matches with me, and I think, great, as I went back and re-examined her profile. Avid Politico type. I would come to file this as a red flag, because all the guys and gals that I ever messed with who made politics a central point on their profile were just miserable little people. But that is a tangent for another day. No, go off. I'm highly intrigued. I agree with this sentiment. It seemed like almost every other bullet point she had on her profile was some sort of Politico affiliation. BLM this, feminism that, thieves lives matter and those ones don't. It didn't set me off. I'm pretty left-leaning myself. I was a little curious though, why? That was all that she had listed on her profile, however. I mean, no personality outside of that. Pretty easy to boil it down, isn't it? And I think that no matter how left-leaning you are, you're never going to be left enough for this radical. Whatever. I waited to see what she would message me, because on Bumble, the ladies have to go first. Well, isn't that wonderful? It's Chivalry, the dating app. Although I suppose if a lady did approach a good Sir Knight under the code of chivalry, we'd have to burn her as a witch.
We have found the witch, may we burn her?
Anyways, her first question was, who did you vote for? Part of me wanted to troll her a bit and say Trump, but that just would have been an instant block. And from what little I could glean out of Chloe's profile, beyond her abundantly overstated politics, was that she was an aspiring artist, something that I too dabble in. Don't bother picking up points you can relate on, because already this is not gonna go well. We have to agree on absolutely everything? Is your worldview so small that you're terrified to have your views challenged in any way? I mean, I guess that's the case for a lot of people, but definitely the case for Chloe. So I told her last election I put in my vote for Sleepy Joe, and then things got quiet real fast. I didn't bother asking her who she voted for because, well, it was such a boring focus to discuss when you're meeting someone for the first time. Unless she has absolutely no personality outside of that. And I'm putting money on that. After a few moments of protracted silence, I came back at her, asking her, so what kind of art do you like to make? The ellipses appeared as Chloe wrote her response. I was expecting to see that she was a musician or a painter or a writer, but she hit me back with a question of her own. How tall are you, sandwich man? How about answer the question? How are we continuing on with this charade? OP says, I'm a big boy, so 6'2" was my reply. And she said, good enough. Good enough? What the fuck kind of response is that? All the sides are being laid out before you. I tried not to read into it too much. I guess she was hoping for someone a little bit taller, but apparently I had passed the threshold. Okay, great, I thought. She's probably like a little gremlin too. Most of the chicks with height requirements are like 5'4". It's like, come on, dude. That's just unnecessary. Anyway, we'll fast forward a bit through the conversation here because for a bit it was just the usual song and dance. Oh, you're not really a ham sandwich. What do you look like? Ham sandwiches can't vote. Let's trade phone numbers. This, that, and the other. And when all was said and done, I had Chloe's number. Burn it. It was a good first step. I sent her a text saying, so you want to meet up and hold hams this weekend?
Yeah, boy.
It's a pretty good one. I'm sure Chloe didn't appreciate it for the true artistry that it is. But okay. She said, yeah, sure, pick me up. Here's my address. I had a date, and I was excited because Chloe was a little cutie.
You sure about that? You sure about that?
Yeah, we remember what happened the last time. I'm not putting too much stock in all that. I started planning out what we were going to do. Dinner and a movie, it's cliche, so I tend to avoid that one. I like things that tend to be a little more lit than that. You mean lit as in brightness or lit as in lit, fam? I decided we'd head out to Venice Beach for the weekend. Oh yeah, that's pretty lit. We could find somewhere to get high for sure. We would walk the boardwalk, check out the weirdness, catch the drum circle, and after that we could get lunch or dinner, the hour depending, and we were set. The week went by fast, and before I knew it, it was Sunday, and I was driving to go and pick Chloe up out in the valley. I like that all these recent OPs are from Southern California specifically. I know where all these places are, and I can confirm that there are a lot of freaks out there. Had my share of bad dates, but nothing that holds a candle to anything we've read here. So I got to her place. It was a 3-story apartment complex with a call box out front, and as I pulled over and parked, I sent her a text letting her know that I was there, waiting for her. She replied, I'll be down in a minute, and I said, great. I adjusted my hair in the mirror real quick, ate a breath mint, and began to wait. I figured she'd be 5 or 10 minutes. Well, after almost 20, I sent her a message saying, are you coming down? Don't even bother, Ed. She's playing a game with you right now, and the only way you could play it better than her is to just leave. Then when she finally does come down an hour later and say, where's your car? You're like, oh yeah, I took off. You ain't for real. But OP sits there, the AC running in the car, listening to some music for about another 10 before Chloe finally comes out the front gate and sullenly walks up to the passenger side of my car. I mean, I guess lateness happens. Tardiness is a thing. OP's gonna give her the benefit of the doubt, so I figure I should as well. OP hops out of the car saying, hey, it's nice to meet you, Chloe. Feeling out the situation to determine what would be appropriate for our first interaction. You know, was it a hug or a handshake or a no physical contact kind of situation? She didn't look up from her phone, however, as she approached the car, mumbling, yeah, you too. She breezed past me and opened the door herself. She cast one glance behind her to size me up before jumping in, remarking, I thought you were taller. Are you sure you're 6'2"? Get out of my car, bitch.
Get out of my car now!
I thought we were gonna have a nice time today, but if you insist on it not being nice, then I'll just go have a nice time by myself. I stumbled over my words, saying, yeah, I'm sure I'm 6'2", and she climbed in and buckled her belt before going back onto her phone. Okay, I thought. Rough start. Whatever. We're already here, so we might as well see where this goes. Yeah, I'm right here standing next to the dumpster. Why not jump on in? Surely it won't light itself on fire at some point. That would be crazy. Dumpster fire! Hindsight said I ought to have bailed. Yeah, I should have turned that car around because every time I tried to initiate any conversation with her, it was like talking to a brick wall. All of my attempts at being witty or trying to learn more about her or trying to tell her a little about myself or establish a common interest were met with dismissive one-liners like, yeah, that's cool, and a return to her screen. God, she is just insufferable. How do you keep from kicking her out? This does violate the social contract, right? I don't think we've really updated it in the last decade or so, but we definitely need to add this to it. So at a stoplight, I glanced over her shoulder to see just what it was that she was so engrossed in. And perhaps to a disappointed lack of surprise, I realized, yeah, she was on fucking Tinder. At least have the courtesy to wait till you get home, no? Pretend to be on this date that you agreed to be on. OP says, the nerve, you know? If you weren't interested, you should have just turned me out back at the apartment and let me go on my merry way. But something within me said, you know what? Fuck it. If nothing else, I'm gonna have a good day today in spite of all of this. I mean, that's the way to go. Just ditch her first chance you get. She's not paying attention. She's in her phone. So you just wander off and leave her there. Now, every so often, Chloe would hit me with a question that put me off. Questions like, what year's this car? Do you live in a house or apartment? Do you have investments? And my personal favorite, because it amused me, and it also made me think wishfully, how big is your dong? Dinosauric, mammoth, gargantuan! Actually, pretty average. I was pretty forthright with most of this information because I felt no need to hide any of it. I could tell some of my answers were unsatisfactory to her because sometimes they would solicit visible scowls that I observed from time to time. She's not even being subtle about it. Like, she's one of those angry prospector gold diggers. Hey, how much you got in the bag? I want half. Come on. OP says, I paid none of this any mind, principally because she paid me no mind either. She couldn't put that fucking phone down. Like I said, at that point, I was in it for myself. A good night would be mine on my own terms, regardless about how Chloe felt about any of it. Yes, there is some disdain building, and that's a great basis for a relationship. Why are we even pretending? Open the door, undo her seatbelt, and kick her out, all in one fell swoop. Boom, boom, boom. Date's over. It took a couple of hours to get out to Venice, and when we got there, we both jumped out of the car as soon as it was parked. Me, ready to go and wander the beach and dance to some drums and interact with the weirdos, and Chloe to go and do whatever. Who cares? We walked down the boardwalk through the thronging crowds of people, and for a second, I thought about speeding on ahead without her and losing her in the masses, and then beelining back to my car like it was a giant heaping pile of not my problem. Probably what I would have done, honestly. Basically exactly that. That would have been mean, though. No, she's being mean. She broke the contract first. And I try not to be a jerk, so a thought it did remain. Some thoughts need to go into action, that's all I'm saying. We got to the drum circle, and as we approached, I started to sway a little bit with the music and the vibe of the place, and I turned to Chloe and asked her if maybe she wanted to dance a bit on the beach. She said, no, not looking up from her fucking phone. Slap it into the sand. I just turned around and I lost myself in that crowd of people for a few hours. Yes, but eventually the dance time will be over, and you'll have to return to the bundle of hatred that you've decided to drag along with you for the rest of the day for whatever reason. She's awful! Can we get rid of her? OP says it was kinda nice. Every so often, I'd look around as I danced and see Chloe sitting on the grass. buried in her little electronic world, while the real one passed her by. Damn, poetic. And I'd push her out of my mind once more. As I stumbled through the beach sand, I eventually started to dance with another girl who I began to actually mesh with. You could swap mid-date, right? I mean, it's kind of rude, but given the circumstances, I'll allow it. Eventually, her and I would become an item, but that's a story for another day. Oh, good. Something not terrible came out of this event. We whirled around a bit in the chaotic dance of seduction before we collapsed together side by side in the sand, laughing and chatting. We exchanged phone numbers there and relaxed in the sand with the sun beating down on us. Things were great. I had forgotten all about Chloe until something dark and ominous blotted out my sunlight. Oh yeah, the bundle of hatred. Welcome back, I guess. That is most unfortunate. What the fuck are you doing? I opened my eyes, and the girl I was with stopped laughing. It was Chloe, all right, blocking out the sunlight, staring down at me and my new friend with a hateful glare. I replied, "Oh, I'm just taking a break from dancing in the circle." "You should have danced, Chloe. It's a lot of fun in there." She scoffed, replying, "No, dumbass! What the hell are you doing with that slut?" "I don't know, bro. She wanted to have fun and you didn't. Like, it's not like I got my dick in her right now. We're just hanging out. Is that cool? Are you so insecure that you can't allow..." What am I saying? Of course she is. She's so insecure, in fact, the only thing that allows her to feel human is to dangle her power over other people's heads. It's the only form of control she's got in her life, I think, and that's sad. Not sad enough to keep me from ditching her, but, you know. I turned to the girl beside me, and she had a hurt look on her face. Chloe continued, "You're out here on a date with me, and you're flirting it up with other girls. What the fuck is wrong with you? That's really scummy. So, what are you gonna do to make it up to me?" You should have just said nothing. Kept laying in the sand. Go away. Catch the bus. Nah, maybe that's a bridge too far. I'll at least drive her home, I guess. But then I'm coming right back to the drum circle. I cast a glance at the beautiful beach naiad beside me before turning to the ominous, glowering Chloe in front of me, and the girl that I was dancing with just gave me a knowing nod and stood up to leave. Most unfortunate, but he did get the number, so like I said, not a total loss. I smiled at her and said, "See you later," and then turned to Chloe, who was still standing there with a huge scowl on her face. At least she's not got her nose in the phone at the moment. We're making progress in some direction. Frankly, I was surprised that she even looked up from her phone long enough to notice that I was actually out here making sparks fly with my future significant other-to-be. But noticed Chloe had, and pissed she definitely was. And her opinion totally counts for some reason I can't discern. Why are you trying to make this work so hard, man? I could tell within like 5 minutes of her being in the car. I'm like, nah, I can't do it. I could feel the vice grip tightening around my balls as I stood and said, "You know, I'm glad you actually came out of your shell a bit. Sure, maybe it wasn't cool, but you haven't been very forthcoming with me either. If you're actually up to hang out with me now, though, I guess we could go somewhere and do something else. What do you want to do?" Dude, you went really soft on her there. I would have cut it cold, dead, right here, right now. Chloe thought about my question for a minute, a cold, calculating smirk breaking on her face before she said, "Let's go get something to eat." "Great," I replied, having worked up a bit of an appetite myself, dancing in the beach sand. I told her there was a great little pizza place right off the boardwalk, and we could go in there and get a pie. Then if we had any leftovers, we could give it to one of the bums on the beach. She did not like that suggestion, but whenever I went out to Venice, I'd always get me a pizza, eat my fill, and pass on the rest, you know? OP's a good guy. I like OP. He's a good guy. She said, "No, that's not good enough. You really hurt me today." Oh yeah, you were so invested, weren't you? "You owe me more than just a piece of pizza. You should take me wherever I want to go." Yeah, how about fucking Timbuktu? Get the hell out of here. She's insufferable, man. I'm dying inside. It felt kind of manipulative. I mean, here I am, trying to show this girl a good time, and she stonewalls me all day while browsing dating apps. We get to where we're going, and I have a good time, in spite of it all. And she decides that she's going to use that as leverage over me, to twist my arm into whatever she wanted to do. Well, I can be vindictive too, Chloe. Yeah, here we go. The gloves are coming off. Took OP a little bit longer than it takes most, but you know what? I'm just happy to see her get what for. I decided to play ball, and I replied, you know what? You're right, sweetheart. Where do you want to go? Sweetheart. Ew. She smiled, thinking herself to be getting her way, and she said, come on back to the car. I'll think about it while we walk. You don't know where you want to go? Are you just Googling the most expensive restaurant near Venice Beach? That's what she's doing, isn't it? Chloe ended up picking probably the fanciest and most expensive restaurant in Santa Monica that she could find. Bro, it's so predictable. You see it every step of the way. And so does OP, probably. When I saw those menu prices coming in, my jaw practically hit the floor. You had $20 for a fucking salad? There ain't even no meat on it! Now, I do pretty well for myself, but these prices, Jesus, this was on a whole other level. I could feel my stomach falling out as I thought about having to foot the bill for any of it. A waiter greeted us at the door and led us to a table, and as I peered over the menu items, it didn't get much better. Is this like Michelin star, super fancy stuff? Never agreed to that on the first date. On a first date, we're getting In-N-Out Burger and Chick-fil-A, eating it in the park while we smoke a J.
Life is good. You know what I mean?
Hey, that rhymes. It didn't get much better. Chloe glared at me with a domineering grin as the waiter returned to our table with cups of water and asked us if we wanted anything to start us off for the evening. I exchanged a glance with the guy, my eyes probably bugging out of my sockets at the thought of paying for a meal at this place, and he just gave me a thin-lipped smile. He knows. He knows! I could hear Chloe say, what's the most expensive wine and plate you've got? That thin-lipped smile only tightened as I psychically screamed, help! As loudly as I could, and he gave me a knowing nod before turning to Chloe and telling her what all they had. As I looked at the menu, I was pleasantly surprised that he was naming off all the budget items. I mean, budget items for this place anyway, but still enough to make me go pale, and he was playing them up as the creme de la creme of their offerings. Chloe, perhaps illiterate, smugly replied, then I'll have that. What about you, darling? Dude, I'm good. I'm good, I think. I don't want anything. I'll just eat some $60 French fries off your plate, I guess. What a nightmare. At least the waiter is trying to be a bro, though. He's like, okay, this stuff's super cheap. That girl's super dumb. She won't know the difference. Yes, finest French fries in the land, madam. But still, who wants to pay $60 for French fries?
No, sir. Not me.
I balked at the proposition of ordering anything, and I just stammered out, water is fine. We sat there for a minute, a stare being exchanged between us, hers vindictive, and mine beginning to mirror that same thought. Took you this long, bro? I think we're still on different levels, to be honest, because before, I just wanted to get away from her. Now I want to see her burn to the ground. OP is now just deciding that he wants to get away from her. Don't stick around any longer or you will set that building on fire, I swear to God. We tried to make small talk, but all of it was punctuated with a quiet note of hostility. After about 5 minutes of that, I wanted no more, and I stood up saying I'd be right back and that I had to go to the bathroom. I meandered through the restaurant for a bit before I saw the waiter who had stopped at our table. I told him I appreciated what he did for me back there. He smiled, clapped me on the shoulder, and said, "No problem, bro." Yeah, he is a bro, isn't he? I went on to explain, look, I don't got any money to pay for a plate here, so I'm just gonna take my leave. Whatever she orders, that's on her, all right? He smiled, clapped me again on the shoulder, and told me to kick rocks, remarking that there was a rear exit through the kitchen and that if I held on for just a second, he'd let me out the back so I didn't have to walk by her table again. That, my friends, is an absolute bro if I ever met one. Yeah, he's looking out for his dudes, you know? This was most important. He's probably been in the same situation. I tried to slip him $20 on my way out, but he said it was all good. And he wished me luck in finding someone who was actually right for me. Dude, I want to give that waiter a hug. This like MVP plays of the story right now. He really pulled your bacon out of the fire. You're gonna be back there washing dishes for a horrible date if he's not as cool as he is. I exited the back of the restaurant to the curious stares of the staff, and waiter bro declared, "It's all right, it's just a guy escaping a vindictive date." And they all nodded knowingly, almost as if this had happened before. Yes, curious that. All right, I might be embellishing a little here, but I digress. I made it out of the back door and headed off to my car, jumped in and drove off, leaving Chloe alone at that chateau by the sea. Good riddance to bad rubbish, that's what I say. This wasn't gonna go no way but down. I admire OP for, trying to keep hope afloat, but at a certain point you gotta cut the cord. Just be like, okay, this ain't happening. You're not interested, you're not interesting, please get out of the car. About 10 minutes into my drive home, my phone started ringing off the hook.
Bye, bitch!
I shut it off since it was distracting me as I drove, you see. I knew who it was, and I didn't have time for any of that.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
I didn't even bother to see what all had come through until I woke up the next day, and I had to make a phone call for work. Chloe had left me a slew of voicemails. Do you still have them? Can we listen to them? God, that's my favorite thing ever. She had filled my whole goddamn inbox, going off on me about how she deserved better than me, and that I was in a 666 anyway. So I was clearly beneath her, and would never be able to satisfy a queen like her. God damn, dude, the internet's a hell of a drug. I don't know who told you that you deserved all these things, but maybe you should start contributing a little bit. You see, it's not that you never deserve the things, it's that you need to put in the work to start deserving the things, which currently you don't. Is that clear enough? I think that's clear enough. She told me she didn't even want me subscribing to her OnlyFans. Oh my god, that's a twist.
What a twist!
After I made her pay for her own meal and take a cab home from our date. Yeah, I had reservations about that earlier in the video too, but they soon slipped my mind, you see. The mask came all the way off and suddenly I couldn't find it in myself to give any more fucks. Truth be told, after seeing who Chloe was on the inside, I had no desire to see her naked anymore anyway. I blocked her number and deleted that long slew of voicemails, forgetting that I had ever met somebody so freaking revolting. She really is terrible, but it's probably because she is cute, so men let her get away with a lot because of her looks. You should have pulled the plug on this one full stop. Just drop the bottom out from her entire world. So once she gets a bit older, a bit less conventionally attractive, she'll be able to reconcile why that is. Why she doesn't get away with the things she used to. And it might sound harsh coming from me, but OP puts it a lot harsher, saying, Chloe, you're gonna die alone. That's a huge pile of not my problem. Anyways, guys, that's about all I got for you today. Next time, we'll dig a little deeper into the past and see what else I can get going on for y'all. Deuces. Yes, indeed. Deuces to you as well, OP. Fair travels. Chloe really is just a nasty person to be around. You shouldn't give people like that a pass just because of how they look. You've broken the social contract, and now you must pay the price, which means taking a cab home as I lose you in a crowd, because obviously all you're gonna do is stick your freaking nose in the phone all day, every day. She definitely did tick all the boxes for a female dating strategy user, though. And I do mean user in more ways than one. I'm just glad that Waiter Bro was there. Honestly, the hero of the story, without even knowing it. Really an enjoyable one, not too disgusting, which I think is fine. We delve into all different sorts of cringe on this channel, do we not? And this was definitely awkward as hell. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like, comment, subscribe if you did. Check out the links in the description. Many social medias, many ways to support. Patreon patrons, YouTube members, the little thanks button down there. You could click that. One of your dollars, like 3, 4 of mine. Extrapolate it if you want. Whether you can support or not, I mean, it's really cool that you watch, especially if you watch this far. And I hope you come back and do the same thing tomorrow. In order to do so, you need to take care of yourselves out there, friends. Wash your hands. And of course, always remember that you are loved, you are worthy. You definitely deserve it. And I shall see you in the next one. So until then, bye-bye.
It's only worth it if you work for it. I won't stop till they hear me now. I won't stop till I wear the crown.